The Soviet Union kept this discovery hidden from the rest of the world. Maybe this information would have captured the attention of the world, and perhaps we would have rewritten history. In September 1969, in the settlement of Rжавчина in Kemerovo region, the Soviet Union made an unusual discovery in a coal mine. At the depth of about 70 meters in the coal seam, miner Karnakhov, who later died in an explosion, discovered a long marble sarcophagus. After that, all work in mine was stopped on the orders of Soviet leadership. The sarcophagus was brought to the surface and they began to open it. But what they saw after opening it was a shock to all onlookers. The sarcophagus was filled to the brim with pink, transparent liquid. In it lay tall, about 180 centimeters, slender and very beautiful woman, around 30 years old. It seemed at thought she had not died, but was simply sleeping. In the lid of the sarcophagus there was also a black metal box. The sarcophagus was open from 10 to 15 hours, and the whole village came to see it. The discovery was immediately reported to the government. Firefighters, police, and army arrived. A helicopter arrived and a group of people in civilian clothes emerged from it and said that the place was contagious and ordered everyone to leave the town. Then they recorded everyone who was nearby and those who saw the sarcophagus. They said it was for an urgent medical examination. They tried to load the sarcophagus into the helicopter, but it was very heavy, so it was decided to remove the liquid from it. But when the liquid was drained, the body started to turn black before the eyes, so quickly. So the liquid was immediately returned and the blackness quickly disappeared and the whole body regained its original appearance. The sarcophagus was sealed and transferred to the helicopter, and people were ordered to despair. The helicopter took off a few towards Novosibirsk. After a while, an elderly professor arrived in the village who gave a lecture about preliminary laboratory studies. He said that discovery would change our entire understanding of history. According to the professor, the unknown woman was buried millions of years ago, and this is a serious crack to the theory of Darwinism. The woman was buried in the ancient Paleolithic era, long before the formation of coal, when, by modern standards, the Earth was a kingdom of plants. From this, it can be assumed that today we are exactly the same as our ancestors millions of years ago, but the level of civilization to which the woman belonged surprised all knowing, including our own. For example, the fabric from which the woman's clothing was made is not acceptable to modern scientific analysis. We do not have the equipment to create this material. The composition of the liquid in which the woman was still remains unknown. The discovery of the sarcophagus and the woman inside, along with advanced materials and technology they processes, has shaken the world and challenged our understanding of history. It is as we discover a missing link in our evolution, a civilization that predates all other surprise our own in terms of advancements. This mystery has only depended with the lack of information and understanding about the composition of the liquid in which the woman was suspended and the fabric of her clothing. The discovery has sparked a new area of inquiry and scientific exploration, leading us to question what else remains unknown about our past and the continuum of human history. The professor didn't say anything about the metal box that was on the sarcophagus lid. But a few days later, the newspaper reported that an archaeological relic was discovered near the village of Rжавчик. Local residents were surprised because there were only 3 lines were written about such a find in the local newspaper and nothing more. The discovery was soon forgotten, but the whole area was surrounded by the military and police, went door to door collecting copies of newspapers from the population. The place where the coffin was found was dug up again and covered with soil. But one of the citizens found the courage and wrote a letter to the Central Committee of the Communist Party, but died without waiting for answer. The official version was a hard failure, but we all know it's true. The remaining 6 miners who found the sarcophagus died in car accidents. In 1973, when the authorities believed that everything was quiet, excavation was carried out all summer and late autumn on the shores and island of Lake Berchi, which is in 6 kilometers from the mine where the sarcophagus was found. The excavation site was surrounded by soldiers and police. One of the workers, when he was in intoxicated state, so he was drunk, told that some ancient burial grounds, possibly from the Stone Age, was discovered. However, he refused to share these details. But people saw the excavations and the helicopters that landed here. Local residents only knew that the remains of the Stone Age were found. A journalist who wrote about it suddenly appeared and said that he was badly hurt after that article. He was almost killed by the FSB and was forced to give up journalism. The discovery was even mentioned on the Central TV channel. 2 more sarcophags were added to the film. The age was lowered to about 20 million years lower, but the story remained uncharted. But there was not a word of truth in this. The most famous series of these stories about the discovery in Middle Ages during work on the tomb of the daughter of Marcus Aurelius Cicerone. The tomb of the girl was filled with a clear liquid and she was lying there as if alive, in beautiful clothing. Next to her was burning eternal lamp, and the tomb was opened and fresh air entered, the lamp went out. People were frightened and sealed the tomb. These stories of finding beautiful women in tombs and trying to review them are well known. However, when they were exposed to the air, their bodies turned black and decomposed. Unfortunately, there are no material of documentary confirmation of this story available in the public domain. The story of the woman found in sarcophagus, who is said to be millions of years old, continues to be a subject of controversy with some people, considering its fabrication by the journalist, while others believe it an accuse of government and special service of the Soviet Union of concealing the information.